Hello, my name is Traci Smet. I'm here to provide a review on Happiness and Your Health, which was originally presented by Dr. Kaddatz from Ministry Medical Group. So the first thing Terry wants us to ask ourselves is, does happiness affect health? There is some positive psychology out there, which is a new kind of field that is evolving that has a lot of research, about 5 to 10 years worth, on how happiness and how our feelings and emotions actually affect our health. According to the research, it has indicated that happy people are much more likely to report good or excellent health according to a survey that was done. So we know that happiness plays some part, but how much does it actually play? So if research has shown us that happy people have also tend to live longer. There's no exact numbers on this, but the preliminary numbers show that happy people live longer. So it's another incentive to stay happy. But what exactly is happiness by definition? So the official definition says that it's a state of well-being or content. So it's being satisfying, being content, feeling good about life is what happiness is. So Terry wanted to find out if that's what happiness is, what are some myths that are out there about happiness? So what he did was went on the web and looked at WebMD's top 6 myths. So myth 1, either you have it or you don't. You're happy or you're not. Well, of course, that's false. Research has shown that people can become happier and develop a better perspective on things with time. So if you look towards a better perspective and look towards making a situation better for yourself, then realistically, it's going to help you become happier. So a good assessment on your life and really concentrating on those positives will help you maintain happiness. Myth 2, happiness is a destination. Well, this is false, and it says that its response to flexibility is important. So in English, what this means is doing something differently and embracing change. Just because the conditions change or you change the conditions doesn't mean it can't be a positive for you. Myth 3, you always adapt to your set point. I'm happy now, but I won't be later. Again, this is false. People do tend to adapt quickly to positive changes. So how do we head this off? We head it off by taking actions to make changes to make it different. So making different changes to make us look at things differently and again embrace the happiness of it. Myth number 4, negative emotions always outweigh the positive ones. Again, this is false. We think that negative always impacts more than the positive, but really it doesn't. When the Twin Towers came down, that was a huge emotion and a very negative emotion that becomes overwhelming or overpowering the positive ones. But in the long range of things, you have to concentrate on the positive emotions because over time, they will win versus the negative ones. Myth 5, happiness is all about my pleasures. Again, this is false. Studies have tended to show that helping others is a much more faster route to obtaining happiness than actually helping yourself. So doing something good for someone else is a big key point to gaining more happiness in your life. And finally, myth 6, one size fits all. Of course, this is false. I mean, happiness is a very individual pursuit. Everyone has their own destination of happiness, and you really have to look to find what yours is. Once you find it, hold on to those happiness avenues. So now that we know what happiness is and we know about certain myths out there, what is the relationship to happiness and weight loss? The big question of today. Well, studies out there and the research have shown that there are a lot of mixed results to how happiness actually affects weight loss. Now, there is a very positive relationship that shows that happy people or happiness can lead to more weight loss. And let's talk about a couple of these scenarios. So, paradox number 1, if excessive optimism can hinder attempts to lose weight, but being concerned about it can lead to efforts to lose weight. So happiness can lead to more exercise. If feeling better makes things more enjoyable, then exercise is going to be an avenue of happiness. Now, paradox 2 is if more exercise does not necessarily lead to weight loss, but it can help avoid gaining weight and it has a positive effect on overall health. Therefore, exercise can lead to more positive attitude. So it doesn't mean you're going to lose weight, but exercise releases endorphins and can make you happy. So in plain terms, preserving life and making it better by doing something is better for you emotionally and physically as far as those positive changes and happiness will go. So let's talk about stress and how it impacts weight. Stress can actually lead to weight loss. It sounds a little contradicting because you think it would be the other way, but when stress happens, there's a fight or fight response that occurs. Because of that, it puts the digestive system on a hold and activates it to stop working because you're stressed out or you're in this fight or flight mode. So it helps with a decreased appetite and can help with weight loss over time. However, stress can also affect it negatively. Let's change and talk about social eating a little bit. With social eating, it's not about food. It's about a social gathering to connect others to each other. Now, a couple of ideas here to conquer that social eating Terry suggests is, looking at the restaurant serving sizes to the appropriate portion sizes, maybe getting a to-go box right away and putting that other portion size away. You can also take some of these suggestions, like if you're questioned about it, you don't have to feel obligated to tell somebody why you're eating healthy or why you're eating a smaller portion size. So don't be afraid to not answer some of those questions. And then a couple other suggestions here to get over that social eating aspect. So again, going back to that stress aspect, stress can place the negative aspect, meaning that it creates some type of addiction. Now, Terry does believe, and the research does show, that food addiction or emotional eating, whichever way you want to call it, does exist. You must have food to live, but the stresses can cause the addiction. So again, food addiction is one of those positive, negative addictions, not like smoking or depression or anxiety, because it has a double positive where you need food to live, but you eat too much food, it can be harmful for you. So that's where the addiction kind of comes in. So what can we do about emotional eating? One of the things Terry recommends is these 5 steps here to identify whether you are emotional eating or whether there's actual physical hunger that you are experiencing. So the first one, emotional eating comes on suddenly, physical hunger is more gradual. So how rapid the onset of your hunger comes on can determine whether it's emotional or whether it's physical. Step 2 is the type of craving that you're having. With emotional eating, it's going to be a specific food like chocolate, ice cream, sweets is typically the direction it goes. With physical hunger, you're going to be more open to options. You're going to say, I want salad, or I want hot dog, or I want spaghetti, or those types of things. So whatever type of concentrated the food is can determine whether it's emotional or physical. Step 3, emotional eating is more of a sense of urgency. Physical hunger is easy to delay. So it kind of goes back to the first one we talked about, by how rapid of an onset. So what is the timeliness of this hunger that you need to fulfill? Step 4, emotional eating, you tend to eat until you get full. With physical hunger, you're more likely to stop when full. So determining your fullness and saying, am I actually full? Or is it an emotional thing where I'm continuing to eat and I'm not full yet, but I really am? And number 5, emotional eating often includes guilt. So if you feel bad after you scoop down or eat 8 scoops of ice cream, for example, then it's probably a good cue that you are emotional eating. So again, look for those signs and then act on them and ask yourself, is this emotional eating or am I actually hungry? And determine the steps you'll take from there. So what can we do to make a change? Mark Twain said it the best, habit is habit, and not to be flung out the window by any man, but coaxed downstairs a step at a time. Most people feel it is an all or nothing thing, but it does not have to be, as Mark Twain is telling us. So let's taking it step by step. Here's how we're going to manage emotional eating. First off is you want to be able to recognize it. Is it emotional eating or is it physical hunger based on those 5 steps that Terry recommends? Second, you want to keep some type of food record. See what kind of foods you tend to eat when you are emotional, which ones you tend to eat when you're physically hungry. That can help identify the signs and symptoms of emotional eating. Second, when you do have your food record, maybe record the type of hunger level that you're having on a 1 to 10 scale, just like a pain scale when you go to physical therapy. By recording those different numbers, you can then identify, again, are you truly hungry or is it an emotional response? Overall, in all the managing techniques, you need to develop some type of strategy that works for you. I think that's the big key takeaway point as far as management goes. So here's a few more strategies to dealing with emotional eating. Again, look at the cues and the triggerants. Is it sudden? Is it specific? Is it urgent? Those types of things. Second of all is try to distract your mind. Look at ways to substitute that emotional aspect. Maybe you call a friend, maybe you take a walk, maybe you lift weights, maybe you do something. Third, find a food or a healthier comfort food if it is emotional eating and you just are not ready to that step to actually control it. So again, find something semi-acceptable. Maybe you eat, a piece of cake versus 8 scoops of ice cream. It's a little bit better, but again, looking for those positive returns instead. And number 4, moderation is not elimination. When you eliminate something out of your diet, you are going to fail. It's just a matter of time. So make sure you experiment with the different types of ways to delay your hunger and figure out ways that again work for you. So the large takeaway message of this presentation is small incremental steps. Small goals lead to big changes in the end. Thank you for joining me. My name is Traci Smet with Ministry Point Sports Medicine, and if you have any questions or comments about this presentation, please feel free to contact me as indicated on the slide in front of you. Thank you and have a happy and healthy day.